Hello?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the Orange.
Orange.
Orange?
Orange.
Orange.
Orange. Orange.
Orange.
Color study. Orange. We began investigating orange by examining the way humans have used pigments and color throughout history to describe themselves and situations around them. Our very earliest indication of the use of color comes from that of caves dating back to 100,000 years ago. The use of red and yellow ochre in cave paintings and handprint making brings tones of orange into the cave environment and depicts a situation of togetherness. The word orange wasn't in the English lexicon for quite a long time. It probably dates back to the use of naranja by the Dravidian language speakers in Southeast Asia. In Old English, the word for orange was actually gillibrand, yellow red. We didn't pick orange as word to describe the colour until we were trading with the Portuguese and they brought their fruits over to us. And they brought the word naranja, which was in turn developed into the word orange in English. Now, what does the colour orange mean to us here? We put together words that relate to orange and how it's used in different cultures. And we came up with a range of words such as chaos, danger, fire, urgency, heat, also identity, energy, melancholy, overwhelm, intimacy, nostalgia, survival. From a technical perspective, we put together an orange wheel. We calculated a straight line path between two endpoints in three-dimensional RGB colour, and then extracted 11 equally spaced points. The computer treats the RGB values as coordinates, ignoring how the human eye perceives light. By exploring these limits, we gain clarity and balance in understanding orange, critically connecting its connotation to its history, cultural context, and role in art.
This colour study is brought to you by Riki, Rachel, and Louis.
We came together to start the research into orange, and we sat down and created a timeline from the very earliest use of ochres to create handprints through artistic works, film, photography, and painting. And from that work, we picked up on the number of words that are there in our word cloud. Following that group meeting, we each went away and investigated different sections for this presentation today. Riki went to develop the orange colour study and try to integrate the timeline of orange and the timeline of our changing understanding of mental health within that colour study. Louis went and created a resource of how orange is used in film to depict mood and intention, and you'll see that film later. And I created a timeline of our changing understanding of mental health from demonic possession to mental wellness, and this became a wider exploration of what it means to be human, our mood, intentions, actions, all explored through the use of drawing, doodling, and painting. Following that meeting, we went into our own individual strands for this project, and Riki really worked hard on developing the orange colour wheel. He wanted to explore how orange could be used as a colour to indicate spiritual transformation, and we thought about connecting that to our understanding of mental health and well-being. in one of the first lectures, we've been introduced to the notion that one of the top environmental problems that we have is that of selfishness, greed, and apathy. And so trying to explore that within the colour orange, Riki went about creating technical colour values through an 11-step RGB process. And this is what he produced. The orange colour study here is different shades of orange, and alongside it are the RGB hashtag colour codes, and also the different words from our word map are mapped around this wheel, and giving us a sense too of the evolution of orange within our consciousness, from those very early handprints to not having a word for orange, to the Portuguese introduction of the fruit to England, and then on to kind of enlightenment and clarity around our understanding of what it means to be human. Louis went off and identified how filmmakers have used the colour orange to depict mood and intention in their work. This is a snapshot of some of the document that he put together, where he listed films and how orange is used in those films to indicate what is about to happen next, what is currently happening, and to give us a sense of mood throughout. He then put together a lovely assemblage of these films and moods and intents and kind of reconnected them to the colour orange. And you can see quite clearly here how different shades of orange are used in film to tell different stories. I went away and explored mental health through the different shades of orange. And from the deepest, darkest tones of orange, I explored the notion of demonic possession and treatments such as bloodletting, through to kind of the notion of spectacle, energy, survival, and how people who are considered very different were put in asylums. They were called lunatics, they were mad, and they were there for our entertainment. You could buy a ticket and go and see the people in the asylum. And then exploring the lighter tones of orange and connecting those to words from the word map, such as intimacy, nostalgia, warmth, vitality. That brings us to the era of psychoanalysis and internal inspection of ourselves, exploring what it means to be us. And the very lightest shades of orange connect with the notions of enlightenment, of opportunity and change, where now we see ourselves as no longer just mentally well or ill, but really existing along a spectrum of wellness, where we are very understanding of how our inner monologue connects with everything that happens around us, and our ability to be resilient in the face of increasing challenges is really an exploration of human nature itself. And with this in mind, we met as a group and decided that, in fact, orange really didn't just depict mental health or ill health or any of those things, but that it represented fully the human condition. And I had explored the use of orange through doodling and drawing and painting to express the different mood states that I was in. And I can see that orange is a very useful tool for really exploring my inner state and what it means to be me.
Before the introduction of 3-strip Technicolor in filmmaking in the mid-1930s, it was very difficult to render true vibrant oranges accurately. But with its introduction, it was possible to capture a much wider spectrum, which allowed rich saturated orange to appear on screen. And this has continued ever since. Using the words we have included in our word cloud, I will explore how filmmakers have used the color orange to convey mood and intent in their films. In the landmark's 1939 film, Gone with the Wind, 3-step Technicolor was used for the visual impact of the orange hues of the dramatic sunset and the fire of the burning of Atlanta. In Apocalypse Now, Francis Ford Coppola used intense, fiery, suffocating orange in The Jungle Fire and napalm explosion sequences, making the color synonymous with the destruction, chaos, and hellish reality of the Vietnam War. Stanley Kubrick used a really hard-hitting fiery orange during combat and explosion scenes in Full Metal Jacket to represent the hellish and violent impact and chaos of the Vietnam War. In the 2015 film Mad Max Fury Road, fiery saturated oranges dominate the screen, representing the harsh desert wasteland and the apocalyptic world. This color is constantly associated with chaos, destruction, and the desperate struggle for survival, which is a major theme of the film centered around the protagonist seeking a green place and a new beginning. In Blade Runner 2049, Denis Villeneuve uses a thick, hazy orange glow to depict the radioactive ruins of Las Vegas. This is not a warm, positive orange, but a toxic, suffocating hue that represents environmental catastrophe, decay, and an isolation of the protagonist in a dead wasteland, evoking a strong sense of melancholy and dystopia. And orange is used as the color of the atomic fire and explosion in Christopher Nolan's film Oppenheimer, about the creation of the atomic bomb. In the 1989 film Do the Right Thing, director Spike Lee used an intense palette of reds and oranges to visually convey the oppressive temperature of a sweltering Brooklyn summer day, which mirrored the escalating racial and social tensions of the story, which boiled over into conflict. Steven Spielberg uses a warm orange glow in Raiders of the Lost Ark to convey a sense of adventure and excitement in scenes involving firelight or golden artifacts, tying into the themes of exploration and discovery in idyllic landscapes, and often as part of the magic hour lighting style. While depicting a barren landscape, the orange glow in the film The Martian can also be associated with warmth and a sense of optimism for the stranded astronaut. Barry Jenkins, the director of If Beale Street Could Talk, uses rich, warm orange lighting in interior scenes to create a strong sense of intimacy and love with the family and romantic relationships, making the characters' living spaces feel like a sanctuary. Stanley Kubrick used natural candlelight in the 1975 film Barry Lyndon to create a warm, flickering orange glow in interior scenes to convey historical authenticity and an intimate sense of the past. Orange in the form of flickering firelight and candlelight is used in this horror film, Hereditary, to denote ritualistic associations and an unsettling warmth that builds tension toward the film's climax. The character Charlie also frequently wears a bright orange oversized hoodie, visually linking her to the climax of the film. In The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2, warm, amber orange lighting in interior scenes often signifies family and tradition, though it can also mask underlying corruption. And throughout the whole Godfather trilogy, oranges often appear as an omen in scenes that come before moments of death, disaster, or a violent turn of events. The presence of the fruit serves as a visual warning to the audience that characters in the scene may not survive upcoming events, as well as the chaos of the crime-ridden world. The director of Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón, uses a muted orange and sepia color palette to create a feeling of a world in decay and on the brink of collapse. And similar to The Godfather, oranges are used just before moments of intense action or the descent of a situation into chaos, serving as foreshadowing of disastrous events in a world already struggling with infertility and societal breakdown. The color orange is used as a powerful symbol of hope and survival in the 2012 film Life of Pi. The film is based on the novel by Yang Martel, who said that orange is the color of survival. Examples in the film include the adult Pi's daughter carrying an orange cat at the start of the narrative, which foreshadows Pi's survival. The name of the orangutan who provides emotional support to Pi is Orange Juice. The lifeboat's tarpaulin, life jackets, lifebuoy, and oars are all orange, directly linking to the color orange to survival. In Alfonso Cuarón's 1995 film A Little Princess, the bleak attic room of the protagonist, Sarah, is miraculously transformed into a vibrant Indian-inspired sunny paradise by her friends, filled with orange light and color. This scene represents a magical positive transformation, offering an escape and a moment of hope and imagination. So as we can see, filmmakers have used the versatile and impactful color orange to convey mood and intent across film genres with great effect.
In becoming a collaborative group, the first thing we had to do was work on communication. We knew that we each had different work and study and family commitments, and so we knew that a lot of our communication would be asynchronous. And so setting up a chat group was really helpful, enabling each of us to put ideas and thoughts, questions and so on into the chat at a time that suited us, that could then be picked up at a time that suited the others. So the WhatsApp group there was really useful for encouraging collaborative working in the moments when we couldn't physically be together. In the middle of the slide there, you can see some of the work we did when we were in person, quite literally with pen and paper, creating our mood map, our timeline of orange, and also an arrow of change where we could actually consider the notion of being human, the problem of being selfish and greedy and apathetic, and how we can explore that by changing the tones of orange. And on the far right of the screen, you can see some of the digital collaborative work that we did in creating the orange study, in adding detail to it and evolving the notion of the colour wheel, and also exploring whether a linear approach to this might work better than the wheel. We were able to explore all of these things in our group. What has been the benefit of being collaborative? It's our feeling that being collaborative has brought depth and nuance to our individual understanding of the colour orange. We've been able to create something much greater than we could have done as individuals, that if we'd just been left to our own devices, we wouldn't have brought this kind of three-dimensional approach to orange. It's also brought us a greater understanding of our individual fields of study and the skills that each of us have that we could bring to the project. It was really useful to develop our interpersonal communication skills through the chat group and in-person meetings so that we could really understand each other's approach to this and really get a sense of a group worldview on orange. And ultimately, of course, being collaborative has really developed our understanding of interdisciplinary working, and we feel very confident that we could do this again, that we could work on something together to create something new in the future.